Good morning. Today we're on lesson 112, more on multiplication with radicals. And in this lesson we're going to have to remember to use FOIL. And remember that when I multiply two square roots, I multiply the numbers that are under the square root and leave them under a square root. Okay? Alright, so this first example is 2 plus the square root of 2 times 3 plus the square root of 8. Alright, so there's a couple of things that we can do here. This square root of 8 can be simplified because we know that 4 goes in there twice, so this is actually the square root of 4 times 2. So the square root of 4 is, that's right, 2, so it comes out in front, and this 2 stays underneath. So we actually could rewrite this in simplified form first, and now use FOIL on it. So let's go ahead and do it this way, and then I'll go back and show you the other way that you can do it. So this is 2 times 3 is 6. Outer are these, so we multiply the numbers that are outside the radical, 2 times 2, and then any numbers that are underneath the radical. We only have 1, so that's going to stay square root of 2. Inside, numbers outside the radical, numbers inside the radical. So 3 times the square root of 2 plus the number outside of the radical in the last is 2 times, what is the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? I hope you didn't say the square root of 4, because when you square a square root, it just drops out of the radical and becomes that number. So square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2, but it has to be multiplied by this 2 that was out in front. Okay, so then 2 times 2 is 4. 4 can be added to the 6, which will be 10, plus, then we add the 4 square root of 2 plus the 3 square root of 2, and we get plus 7 square root of 2. Okay, now that's one way that we can do it. The other way we could do it, go back to the original, 2 plus the square root of 2 times 3 plus the square root of 8. So we'll just multiply it like it is. So 2 times 3 is 6. Outer would be plus 2 square root of 8. Inner is plus 3 square root of 2. And then last is plus the square root of 16. Alright, well, square root of 16 is what? It's 4. And here we go with this 8 again. 8 is 4 times 2. So the square root of 4 is 2, has to come out and be multiplied by the 2 that was out in front. So this is actually 6 plus 2 times 2 is 4. Don't forget this square root of 2. And then plus 3 square root of 2 plus the 4 that we got from the square root of 16. So we get 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 4 plus 3 is 7 square root of 2. So either way, you get the same answer. I'll allow you to do it whichever way you want. The problem sometimes is when we don't simplify early on, we don't recognize that the numbers that we have left over are actually numbers that need to be simplified. So just be careful when you do that. Alright, moving to the next one. We have 4 plus the square root of 5 times 2 minus the square root of 5. Alright, so we're just simply going to use FOIL. 4 times 2 is 8. Outer is minus 4 square root of 5. Don't forget that sign right here. It goes with the square root of 5. Then plus inner 2 square root of 5. Positive times negative is negative. Square root of 5 times square root of 5 is, right, 5. So then 8 minus 5 is 3. And minus 4 square root of 5 plus 2 square root of 5 is minus 2 square root of 5. It's that simple, guys. Okay, let's try another one. A little bit more complicated, not too bad though. Okay, first, 6. Outer, remember, numbers are outside the radical. 2 times 2 is 4. And then the numbers that are inside the radical. So there's only one, the square root of 2. Plus these. Outside the radical, inside the radical. Plus outside the radical, inside the radical. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4, plus the 6 is 10. Plus 4 and 3 is 7 square root of 2. Exactly the same answer that we got for the first one, because they simplified the square root of 8 this time and wrote it like this, like we did the first time we did it anyway. All right, one more of these, and it looks a little bit tricky. It's not too bad if you just pay attention to what we're doing. So the square root of 2, and it's under the radical, not the x, plus the square root of 3, and the y is not under the radical, and that's squared. So my recommendation to you guys is this. Rewrite it like this, so that you can actually see the first, the outer, the inner, and the last. If you don't, the most common mistake that students will make is they'll tell me that this is 4x squared plus 3y squared, and that's absolutely incorrect. If you write it out like this, you're more likely to recognize that we have to use FOIL on this. So square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. And x times x is x squared. Okay, now the outer. Remember, we multiply the numbers under the radical. So square root of 2 times square root of 3 would be square root of 6. And x times y is xy. Plus, do the same thing on the inners. Square root of 2 times square root of 3 is square root of 6. X times y is xy. Plus, square root of 3 times square root of 3 is 3. And y times y is y squared. Well, these are like terms. So I have square root of 6 plus square root of 6. That's 2 square roots of 6, isn't it? And then the 2x squared plus the 3y squared, and we can't add anything else.